stop. Enjoy listening to you.
She's
Really said it's been a good place to be.
Amen.
Feel him, you know, he's here. Got a lot going on today, but we still got to put God first.
Him first. Amen.
Do our little parts. And Pastor Appreciation Day. And
Yeah.
obviously, we got a good one, and God has surely blessed us with that.
Amen.
He said last Sunday we might roast him a little bit, and I'll plan on roasting him, just commend him maybe for the light he's been, the light he's shown to each of us. And, especially maybe grateful for all that he's done and the work he's done. And I've been behind him my whole life and don't see that changing. I'm just thankful for him and Judy for what they do here. For us, we don't know the behind the scenes. I understand a little bit more now than I used to, but still don't understand the full of it, what he does for us, the prayer he prays for us, and when we don't ask, and just the man he is. If I could ever be a tenth of what he is, I feel like I'll be doing all right. So we're thankful for him today, and just shake his hand, tell him you love him, tell him you appreciate him and you today. But I did have a thought on my mind. I had this thought a few weeks ago and didn't get on it too much. I guess God was saving it for today. But I guess, are you hungry? I know we're having dinner today, but that's kind of the thought I had. Some of this spiritual food, Billy's filled up on it right now.
Amen.
We can fill up on it too.
Amen.
There's a table for us full of food if we know where to look and know how to eat of it. Sometimes we just don't, and we starve ourselves out. So we need to be hungry. We need to be seeking after Him and His blessings. So got a few scriptures I'll read, and I won't be up here long. And we'll just fellowship and have a good day and celebrate the blessings of God in this little church and what He's done for each and every one of us. So turn with me to St. John chapter 6, verse 35. And then I might skip over to verse 48. St. John 6:35. And Jesus said unto them, I am the bread of life. He that cometh to me shall never hunger, and he that believeth on me shall never thirst. Now turn the page with me. Verse 48 again. He said, I am the bread of life. Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness and are dead. This is the bread which cometh down from heaven, that a man may eat thereof and not die. I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If any man eat of this bread, he shall live forever. The bread that I will give is my flesh, and I will give for the life of the world. Let's pray. Our Father, Lord, as we come to you again, Lord, we feel your Spirit, we feel your touch this morning, Lord. Thank you for this little congregation of people. Thank you for the singing, the communion, the preaching we've already heard, Lord. Not to add to, Lord, just do my little part, Lord, here before we go. Bless the reading of your scripture, Lord. Anoint me, Lord, a few minutes, Lord, as I stand. There might be a help to somebody, Lord. Just go with us through this day. And again, thank you for our pastor and for this little church, Lord, and his wife and all they do for us, Lord. We love you, we praise you, we thank you for everything. In your name we pray. Amen. So Jesus is our bread this morning. He's our food. We don't. If we got Him, we don't have to be hungry. He talks about the manna in the wilderness. That kind of symbolized Christ, I guess, while they were there. But those are dead. But once we have Christ and we eat of Him, we can live forever. And like I said, Billy was full on that this morning, and He's present, and we can have all we want of it if we'll take it. But so often we don't. We don't hunger and thirst after Him like we should.
Amen.
And we live on the crumbs, and I'll get into that a little bit. But we can be full this morning. We can have joy. We can have life. We can. Things are bad, and they're not going to get any better. But we can sustain, and God will sustain us. So. The question, are you hungry? I hope the answer to that is that you are. I'm hungry this morning. I've lived off crumbs and bread long enough. I want to be full, and full of Him and enjoy Him and what He has to offer. So I thought a few weeks ago was when I was preaching on the 23rd Psalm. You know, thou prepare a table before me. So Jesus has got a table ready. God's got a table ready for each and every one of us. But our problem is we just don't sit down at it enough. Amen. We just we don't have time. We're too busy to sit down and get full. And I know how busy things are. Usually what gets left out is what should come first. We leave out Jesus and God and reading and studying. So we're not going to get full that way. All this bread, this living bread, and we went through with communion, and we identify ourselves with Him as the bread. He's what sustains us, not physical food as far as day-to-day life, but He sustains us to get through the trials and the temptations and everything that comes our way. And if we're starving of Him, we're not going to be able to stand against anything. So you think about that. How can His spiritual food sustain you? Well, think about Him in the wilderness. You know, He was there 40 days and 40 nights. He didn't have anything to eat. And, you know, scientifically, I read maybe 8 to 21 days is what we can survive without food. You know, there's a range. That depends on a lot of different things. Our metabolism, you know, how big or small you were to start with, and this, that, and the other. But Jesus made it 40 days, which is far beyond the outward edge of science there. He made it 40 days. And Elijah, and I think Joshua, maybe one other I can't think of right now, is the men in the Bible that went 40 days and 40 nights fasting without eating. So, yes, I'm sure they were physically hungry, but they were getting filled up on something better, something that would sustain them, something that would get them through. So that's that bread that Jesus was talking about here. Not the manna that came down in the wilderness, but the bread of life that come down from heaven, which is Him. And Jesus prayed. So you pray to increase your faith, and then you fast to help you prayer. So that's what fasting is. You know, it's a time of prayer where you put aside everything and let God help you through it. And I've never done that. And if I ever do, I won't tell you about it. But there's a blessing there for you to have if you consider this spiritual food from on high that we just don't eat of. You know, Americans, we love the fad diets or whatever, but our problem is we're on too much of a diet away from the Word of God. We don't eat enough of it. We don't drink enough of it. There's enough here to keep us full if we'll just let Him. So again, the spiritual food is what I'm talking about. It will kind of overtake and push aside the physical side of things that we don't often need. So the bread which cometh down from heaven, a man may eat thereof and not die. Jesus is that living bread. So that's what I want to talk about this morning. The living bread. So turn back with me to Matthew real quick. Chapter 15, verse 22. I want to talk about a little lady that had some great faith. Faith that I don't think Jesus had seen. We kind of see Jesus a little bit differently in this story. He wasn't quite as forthcoming as he normally was, but he knew the point he wanted to make out of this. And as this woman was talking about some bread and some crumbs. So Matthew 15, verse 22. And behold, a woman of Canaan came out of the same coast and cried unto him, saying, Have mercy on me, O Lord, thou son of David. My daughter is grievously vexed with the devil. But he answered her not a word. And his disciples came and besought him, saying, Send her away, for she crieth after us. You know, basically, Jesus, let's bless her and get her on out of her way. She's kind of in our way. We need to get her out of the way here. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Then came she and worshipped him, saying, Lord, help me. But he answered and said, It is not meet to take the children's bread and cast it to the dogs. And she said, Truth, Lord, yet the dogs eat of the crumbs which fall of the master's table. Then Jesus answered and said unto her, O woman, great is thy faith, be it unto thee even as thou wilt. And her daughter was made whole from that very hour. So we have a Canaanite woman or a Gentile woman, and Jesus wasn't using dog as a derogatory or word to put her down. That's just what the Jews referred to any other group of people. You know, they were no more likely to accept God or Jesus more than a dog was. So here's this woman, and I guess Jesus knew her heart from the beginning, but he's going to make her work for it a little bit. And again, there's a lot of sermons that could go from right there. You know, she was persistent, she prayed, she worshiped Him. She found the positive out of a negative. You know, He kind of knocked her back for a minute, but she was persistent. And how often do we, when we get no for an answer, we give up? You know, but this woman knew who He was and knew what He could do for her, and she was persistent. And she had the faith, and maybe that's what God wants us to do. He just wants us to keep asking every now and then. You know, and this woman had the faith. You know, just if I could get just a crumb. I know you are the great I am. You are Jesus. You're the Son of God, and I know that you can heal my daughter with just a little crumb. That's all she wanted. And we can go on the crumbs, but we don't have to go on the crumbs. You know, we don't have to live off of crumbs. We can live on the full meal if we'll just take it. So if a crumb can heal her daughter from that very hour, what can the whole meal do for you and I? You know, that's the faith, I think, that would move a mountain, that would heal the sick, and you know, cause the blind to see. It would do all these things if we just fully partake of it and not be hungry. We're just too hungry. We don't have to be hungry. Here we see the crumbs and what they can do with it. Remember back to Elijah. You know, he ran for 40 days or 40 nights again. I guess part of that was a fast, but he ran. He moved to Mount Horeb, I believe it was, on what the angel kind of fed him there in the cave. You know, it will sustain. You know, this spiritual food, and we can see some things happen if we just fill ourselves up. So, again, the crumbs. We don't have to live on crumbs. This woman knew the crumbs were enough, but we don't have to settle. Christ gave Himself. He broke Himself. He bled so that we could have it all. Even though, you know, we're in that same category. We're Gentiles. We're nothing but dogs to the Jews. But yet He loved us enough that He died, He bled, He suffered for us.
Amen.
That all we have to do is believe. And through and by faith, we can make it home.
Amen.
Amen. So great is this woman's faith. Again, Jesus come across a little different, but he made a great point here with this woman. So Jesus has a table for us this morning if we'll just go to it and eat. Again, you read about it, the table, the evening meals kind of been phased out of our life just because we're too busy. We don't have time to sit together as a family and talk and pray and just eat and enjoy. And you know, I'm part of that group. You know, when you work and you're busy, you're lucky to just swallow something whole, and you don't take time to enjoy it. Don't take time to let it soak in. But Jesus wants us to come to Him. You know, the table's ready for us just to pull up a chair and dine and get full. And we can go a while. Elijah went a long time, so we can go just as long as that if we will just surrender and take a little time for Jesus. It's not that hard. The Bible says, "Blessed is he that hunger and thirst after righteousness, for he shall be filled." So if you're seeking it, God's not going to hold it from you or hold it back from you. He's going to fill you up. So you can read that in the Beatitudes. I think it's chapter 5 of Matthew. But moving on, there's the good table, but there's also a bad table. Billy touched on that just a little bit. As I quickly move on, and we'll get on into the rest of the day. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 21. Again, you can't have it both ways. God's got His table, and there's another one. Verse 21, "Ye cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. Ye cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and the table of devils." So again, going right along with Billy's sermon, which side of the fence are you on? Which table are you sitting at this day?
That's so true.
The Lord's table, and there's the devil's table.
Amen.
You can't sit at both of them. They don't combine. They don't one right into another. You know, we got two tables combined back there, so we can kind of all sit together. It ain't like that. You can't eat from both cups. You You can't have it both ways, and we live in a world that would make you believe you can have it both ways. But that's a lie, and we know the devil's the father of the lie. He kind of told Eve that very same thing in the garden. You know, eat of this. You know, you'll have all knowledge. You'll be as God, and so on and so forth. So he pulled her right up to his table and deceived her. So again, these tables might look good, but they don't always produce good. They don't always have the best food. So maybe someday we'll kind of know what more he said to Eve, maybe, and how he convinced her that this was the way to go. When obviously it was not, because God had forbid it and told them not to. So again, take inventory. You can't sit over here a while and over here a while. Christ said he wouldn't. Both spirits couldn't dwell in the same temple. I forget exactly how it's worded, but we cannot have it both ways. God's table or the table of devils. So take inventory of what's going on day to day. Again, it gets confusing. I realize that. The devil is good at what he does. He likes to disguise it. He likes to make it appear good when it's not good. And it's just going to lead to our own destruction. But the table of God is, there's a meal spread, and it will fill you up and sustain you. So again, thinking about the table, I started thinking a little about Moses. We, despite our best efforts, and trying to get full and trying to live for God and do the best we can from time to time leave something on the table. And I think about Moses and the one time he disobeyed. And I'll not go back and read it, but remember God told him to raise the rod and speak, and water would come out of the rock. Moses didn't quite do that. He smote the rock. And he had to pay the price. All those years and all he had done leading the children out of Egypt during the Exodus, he didn't get to obtain the final prize, which was crossing over into the Promised Land. They wandered for 40 years, and he was their leader. But yet, because of this disobedience, God didn't let him cross over. He let him look at it, even though Moses prayed. God let me cross over. But, he said, Moses, don't speak of this again to me. You can look at it, but that's going to be it, because you didn't obey. So maybe it's not disobedience on our part this morning, but it's just we left something on the table. We didn't do as much as we could have done. Amen. And I think back, earlier in life, I feel like I did a decent job answering the call to preach, but before, I didn't always let my light shine like I should. So if I would have done more, would that made a bigger influence in someone else's life? Maybe I would have witnessed better, or maybe I would have let my light shine more. What did I leave on the table? There could have been a blessing there. Maybe someone could have come to Christ because of something you or I could have said, but we didn't do it. So we left something on the table. So my prayer and my challenge this morning is again, while you're eating, don't leave anything there. He's got it there for you to have and to eat and to nourish yourself and strengthen yourself. We don't want to leave it there. We don't want to leave anything undone. Amen. We leave too much undone again because we're busy. We ain't got time to sit down and eat and figure out what He wants us to do. Amen. So don't leave anything on the table. Again, I've left enough. I don't want to leave anything on the table anymore. I don't want to eat of the crumbs anymore. I want to be full. I want to offer myself to Him and do His work and follow Him and let Him be the Lord and Savior of my life, which He is. And now maybe I can do just a few things to further the kingdom. And again, I'm nothing compared to Guy or Billy or anybody else in here, but we each have a job to do. And we have a friend that can lead and guide us. And we're blessed to have a pastor. He feeds us week after week after week. So many times, maybe when he don't feel like it, but he brings the bread and the word, and he gives it to us. And he don't sugarcoat us. It's the truth. And I guess that's why we're in the shape we're in today. Too too many churches and pastors and preachers are they're just throwing crumbs out to the congregation. They're not breaking the bread and the truth that might help somebody grow. You know, that's what it's all about. We need to grow. So yeah, we might get our feelings hurt or kind of called down every now and then, but again, it's only for our benefit. So thank God we got somebody that'll tell us the truth, working through God and doing His part. So I talked about the table, and Jeremiah, get you a song ready. We'll close this here in just a few minutes. There's a table set, or there's a table being prepared in heaven this morning, and it may already be ready. We ain't quite got to it in Sunday school yet, but we're getting there. I guess we've already got there. It's just this is the place it was written in the book. Talking about the marriage supper of the Lamb. There's a table. Table spread. It's Revelation 19, 7-9. So let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to Him. So again, all praise and all honor to Him this morning. Because we're here and
Bless Him, Lord.
He's got something out there for us that will fill us up for all eternity. Rejoice and give honor to Him, for the marriage of the Lamb is coming. His wife hath made herself ready. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, for the fine linen is the righteousness of saints. And He saith unto me, Write, Blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And He said unto me, These are the true sayings of God. So Jesus is up there, and He's done said. John seen this in 95 AD when he wrote it. So there's a supper being made ready, and I think it's ready. Jesus has got the table spread. He's got the forks and spoons and the platters out and the drinks and God, I don't know, maybe He's even got little name cards with their names on it. You know, Adam's going to sit right here, and Jeremiah's going to sit right there, and maybe your dad and your mom and all those that went on before you are going to be sitting next to you. I don't know. It's ready this morning. And it'll fill us up from then to eternity. Blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. So I pray that you're ready to be called into that this morning.
Bless Him, Lord.
He's made it ready, and He's waiting on us. He's just waiting on the Father to say, go get them. And all that destruction and torture and torment and everything we've been studying about in Sunday school, we won't be part of it. We'll be eating and drinking and enjoying our time with Jesus. Blessed are they which are called into the marriage supper of the Lamb. That's good. That's a good thought this morning. That'll fill you up. So let's get full. Let's don't be hungry anymore. Jesus, you know, came to make a way. He's the bread. He's the living bread. And He will give us life. He will give us life more abundantly. But all we have to do is accept Him as our Savior. And my prayer be this morning that everyone has accepted Him. Now as we close, Jeremiah, come on and you just get a song. We may not have fellowship, but I'll give you just a brief invitation. You know, John, chapter 21, he wrote, this was after Jesus had been crucified and he had rose. You know, he said, this was after some of the disciples were out on the boat fishing, and Jesus was on the shore, and again, I'm not ready to get all into it, but Jesus was on the shore, and Peter recognized Him and swam and came, and Jesus had told them where to cast their nets that they might catch some fish, and He said, come and dine. That was his thought this morning, or that day, and again, that was for Peter, I believe, because Peter had failed Him about as bad as anybody could fail Him. Amen. He denied Him 3 times. So, Adam, are you picking on Peter? No. When I think about it, I've denied Christ far more times than 3. You know, he didn't know Him. He didn't claim Him in Jesus' darkest hour. And I can't claim to be any better, because how many times have I denied Him and failed when I should have spoke His name? But Jesus was there to show Peter something, and He'll show us something this morning. He said, come and dine. You know, You messed up, you denied me, but that's forgiven and forgotten. He said, come and dine. Come restore your relationship with me, and I will help you and strengthen you so that you can grow and help get my church going. So this morning, maybe you've never accepted Christ. He's inviting you to come and dine. He wants you here. He'll bless you. He'll fill you up. He'll change your life. He'll turn your heart from a heart of flesh to a heart of love. Or maybe you've messed up. You've denied Him. Again, He's saying, come and dine. I'll make things right with you again. You don't have to be down. You don't have to be discouraged. You can come. You can patch things up. And again, that's where we are. Come and dine. Amen. And what a feeling that is. No matter how bad we are, how low we go, we can come and dine. And anytime He loves us, He wants us. He's inviting you back. He's inviting you for the first time. It doesn't matter, but He wants to restore fellowship with you. He's got a job for each and every one of us this morning. He'll bless us and He'll touch us. So, anyone, anywhere, though, the altar's open. It's been a good place to be. I felt it. I'm ready to. Mary, she wasn't feeling good this morning, but she came. That she might feel she would have missed out on a blessing this morning. So don't miss out. Don't leave the table while it's spread. God's waiting for you. He's bidding you to come. So come this morning and partake of His meal. He's the bread of life. He will make a way for you. So that's my prayer this morning. Anybody, anywhere, come. Saved or unsaved, it does not matter. But you can turn it out. Amen. As we sing this precious song, the grace that He shed for us, that He brought to us, we didn't deserve it. Like I said, we're unworthy. We don't deserve anything, but Christ made a way. We can have it. When we've been there 10,000 years, we can look back and realize, God, You made a way. You filled me up when I was hungry. You clothed me when I was naked. You took care of me. You made a way when there seemed to be no way. Amen. He's good this morning, church. Thank God for Him. Thank God for each one of you. Anybody, anywhere, would you come and dine? Christ got the meal ready. With outstretched arms for you to come. If you need to patch things up with Him. Praise God. 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 Yeah. Praise God. Praise you, Lord. Praise God. Praise God. Amen. Bless you. Thank God for each and every one of you.